Felicitous greetings, fellow fanatics.
Greetings and salutations, I'm Adam the Fanatic, and today I'm taking a look at Golden Sun, a classic JRPG for the Game Boy Advance. I was first introduced to this title back in high school, and it was right around this time that I was really getting into story-driven games. StarCraft, Final Fantasy VI, Mega Man Legends, these games really opened up my mind to narrative-driven titles. It's been several years since I last played Golden Sun, so how well does the nostalgia hold up? Let's dive in and find out. Released in 2001, Golden Sun was Camelot Software Planning's first entry onto the Game Boy Advance. Formerly owned by Nintendo's old rival Sega, Camelot was best known at the time for making the Shining series of RPGs, particularly the Shining Force strategy games for the Genesis. Set in the world of Weyard, Golden Sun has you taking on the role of Isaac as he leads a small group of his friends who are adepts, individuals with the ability to use synergy, spelled with a silent P, to control the elements of nature. Isaac himself is a Venus adept, which means he can control Earth, while his childhood friends Garrett and Jenna are both Mars adepts, capable of using fire. Synergy is effectively magic, but certain characters will bemoan the use of such terminology.
It's not magic, it's water bending, and it's—
Yeah, an ancient art unique to our culture, blah blah blah.
Before you get too far into your journey, you'll also come across Ivan who can control wind, and Mia who can control water, among other abilities that we'll get to in a little bit. At its most basic, Golden Sun is a pretty standard JRPG for the most part. You'll travel across the world, fight monsters, level up, get gold, buy and find new equipment, all to grow stronger so you can challenge more and more powerful foes. But there are two main things about the game that really make it stand out from the pack, both tying back into the aforementioned synergy. While in battle, synergy effectively acts like you would expect magic to in most RPGs, allowing you to do a wide variety of effects including area attacks, healing, stat boosts, etc. But once you get outside of battle, that's when things get really interesting. You'll find that many synergy abilities can still be used in the overworld as well, allowing you to interact with the environment to solve puzzles, find hidden items, and otherwise interact with the world around you. You'll be able to make vines you can climb up, find hidden doors, freeze puddles of water, and much more. As you go through the game, you'll gain new abilities to further expand how you can use this, sometimes even allowing you to return to old places to discover new secrets, giving your abilities an almost Metroidvania-like feel. The other feature that makes Golden Sun unique is the Djinn system. Over the course of the game, you'll be able to find a total of 28 Djinn, creatures that are effectively living embodiments of synergy, 7 for each of the 4 elements. Each Djinn can be assigned to a character with 3 different modes: set, standby, and recovery. You can freely change them between set and standby. Each set Djinn enhances the character's stats, potentially combining with their innate abilities to change their class. In battle, you can use a Djinn's unique ability which automatically changes it to standby mode. This will weaken your character, but is not without its advantages. When you have Djinn in standby, you can use up to 4 of the same element to perform a summon. The more Djinn used, the more powerful the ally that will come to aid you. If you use just one, it'll be the Djinn itself. But if you use 2 or more, you can call on the likes of Ramses, Neptune, or Thor to aid you. Level 4 summons are your most powerful attacks in the game. And what's more, using a summon will boost a character's synergy of the matching element for the rest of the battle. However, there is a downside. When you summon, all Djinn used go into recovery mode, where they cannot be used for a short while. At the end of each round of battle, if a character has any recovering Djinn assigned to them, one of them will return to set mode where it can be used again. Presentation-wise, the game is one of the best looking titles on the Game Boy Advance, despite releasing within its first year. Through a mixture of zooms and faux sweeping shots, the game does a great job of giving the illusion of being 3D. Animations are fluid and make great use of particle effects to make even relatively simple attacks look quite fancy. And then there's the music. This game was my introduction to Sakuraba Motoi, who I'd later name as one of my favorite composers. One of these days I will figure out a way to rip and review this one. But of course, what is a JRPG without its story? As aforementioned, you'll begin the game as young Isaac, and it all begins on a stormy night. He and Garrett are told to evacuate the town of Vale as the storm is causing a massive boulder to tumble towards the town while the adults are doing their best to delay the boulder from falling. However, along the way, they come across their friend Jenna and her brother Felix, the latter of whom has fallen into the river and is holding on to a wooden post for dear life. Her parents, along with Isaac's father, are on the remains of the dock trying to rescue him. although they've all exhausted their synergy in delaying the boulder and are unable to use it to pull him to safety. Just as it seems they found someone to help, the boulder finally breaks through, smashing the dock and sending the four of them tumbling into the waters below. Isaac and Garrett try to leave to search for them, but are stopped by a mysterious pair named Sataros and Minardi, who catch them eavesdropping. They force the children into a fight, but they're hopelessly outmatched. With no chance to defend, the pair are knocked unconscious, and we skip ahead 3 years. In the time since then, Isaac, Garrett, and Jenna have grown to adolescence and have devoted much of their time to studying synergy and its applications. In that time, they've begun studying under Kraden, a scholar who is not an adept himself, but has devoted his life to the study of synergy and the lost art of alchemy. We soon learn that alchemy once empowered the land of Weyard, allowing humanity to perform both wondrous and terrible feats of power. Fearing that its power could destroy the whole of civilization, an ancient group decided to seal away the secrets of alchemy, hiding the keys to it within Sol Sanctum upon Mount Aleph, with Vale at the foot of the mountain to guard it. With Kraden's encouragement, the trio sneak into the hidden sanctuary, soon coming to its inner chambers where the elemental stars are hidden, one for each of the 4 elements. However, they soon find they've been followed by the same duo that attacked them 3 years prior, along with a third masked figure. They demand that Isaac give them the stars in exchange for the promise of Jenna and Kraden's safety. But Kraden is smarter than most hostages and points out that if Isaac gives them the stars, they have no proof that they'll let them go. To this point and purpose, the third figure removes his mask, revealing himself to be Jenna's brother Felix, now working with the pair for reasons unknown after they saved him from the storm. A fourth enemy also appears, though we only learn that his name is Alex. As Isaac and Garrett take the last elemental star from its resting place, the long-dormant volcano begins to act up. The foes take Jenna and Kraden hostage, convincing Felix that if they leave them behind, they'll just be killed by the eruption anyways. Thus they retreat, leaving the Mars star with Isaac and Garrett. A strange creature known only as the Wise One shows up, ensuring the village will not be destroyed by the eruption, and saving the boys to allow them to return to the village. It's then that they learn of the thieves' plans. The 4 elemental stars can each be used to ignite a matching lighthouse. When all 4 are lit once more, the power of alchemy will be unleashed on Weyard once again. As they went with Kraden in order to explore the sanctum, the weight of the loss of the elemental stars, and the duty to retrieve them, falls to the boys. Or you can choose to abdicate your duties and let the world fall into ruin. Yes, the game actually gives you that option, and even has an alternate game over for doing so. Otherwise, you accept the quest, and the game begins proper.
And now that we have the bare bones of the plot out of the way, we'll be discussing some of the story's twists and turns. If you wish to avoid spoilers, please jump ahead to the time coordinates indicated on screen. Initiate temporal distortion now. Still with me? Then don't say I didn't warn you.
From here on out, much of the adventure feels almost episodic. You'll see a wide variety of locales and experience unique adventures, but most of them don't have a direct impact on the plot at large. That's not to say that they aren't fun and intriguing side quests, but in the interest of saving time, I'm going to stick to those that have a major impact on the main plot and the player characters. The first place you'll come across is Vault, where a Jupiter adept named Ivan has stayed behind after some thieves stole his lord's staff. It's there Isaac and Garrett come to realize that adepts are quite rare outside of Vale, as they're the only other adepts that Ivan has ever met. They help him to retrieve Master Hammet's staff, but in the time that they've done so, Hammet has been captured by another band of thieves to the north. There's naught they can do to rescue him at the moment, so Ivan decides to travel with them for the time being in hopes of finding an alternative way to Clay, the city that Hammet and his wife rule over. Heading further north, the trio eventually come to Emil, where they come across the final member of their party, Mia. As a Mercury adept, Mia comes from a long line of healers, and unlike Ivan, is quite aware of the Mercury lighthouse and its purpose. When she realizes that someone has entered the lighthouse, she goes to investigate and joins with the others to help stop the invaders. Unfortunately, they arrive too late, and by the time they reach the Aerie, the ethereal light is already shining brightly. Just as their foes are about to escape, Sataros decides to engage them in a fight. Although they're no longer helpless children, it's still a long, drawn-out battle. Still, they manage to drive him back, but by that point, Minardi and Felix have already escaped with Jenna and Kraden. Alex shows up to save Sataros, and it's then that we learn 2 important details. Firstly, as a Mars adept, Sataros' power was severely weakened by the water-aligned lighthouse burning above them. Secondly, Mia is Alex's cousin, aghast at him for betraying their tribe's duties of preventing the lighthouse from being lit. A good while after that, the party comes to the village of Lama, where they come across Master Hamma, a Jupiter adept with the power of precognition. What's more, she says that she's been awaiting the group's arrival so that she could teach Ivan the power of reveal, allowing him to see otherwise hidden or invisible objects and beings. It seems she has more she wants to say, but is hesitant to tell more of what she knows, so the party presses onward, soon crossing a large inland sea and eventually making their way to Tolbi. Tolbi serves as a major hub of commerce between the continents of Angara and Gondwana, and the group arrives just as they're hosting the yearly Colosso tournament. But of more pressing concern is the fact that the city's leader, Bobby, has mysteriously disappeared. The party eventually finds Bobby in a cave to the north, cloaked in synergy but prone on the ground. He pleads with them to help him retrieve a draught hidden deeper within the cavern, after which he explains things to them. There have long been rumors of Bobby being over 200 years old, which he states are indeed true. The draught keeps him alive, effectively acting as an elixir of youth, for certain values of youth.
When 900 years old you reach, look as good you will not,
If he goes too long without it, his age starts to catch up with him and his body rapidly deteriorates. The draught comes from the island of Lemuria, where supposedly the inhabitants drink its waters and live for several hundred years. However, his own supply of the draught is running low, so he's been trying to use it sparingly, and ended up waiting too long this time. Upon returning to Tolbi, Bobby insists that Isaac enter the Colosso tournament, and I must say, this is my favorite minigame in the whole Golden Sun trilogy. You'll be able to inspect the course before each round begins, and you have to choose which segment each of your party members will cheer for Isaac from. The catch being that since most people can't see synergy, they can use theirs to alter the course and help pick the victory. You don't get to bring any of your own items into these battles, but you'll be able to collect single-use items along the way, and you'll get equipment in each round, with whichever combatant manages to reach the central battlefield first getting to take the better item. It's a great blend of both the game's puzzle elements and combat, and I really wish that there was a multiplayer mode based off of it. Regardless, once Colosso is over, win or lose, you'll talk with Bobby once more. He'll request that the Adepts search for Lemuria in their travels, and in exchange, agrees to grant them passage to the south. Furthermore, he also lets them have the orb that he used to turn invisible in the caverns, allowing the group to finally return north, infiltrate the Thieves' Fortress, and at long last rescue Master Hammett. Upon returning Hammett to Calais, his wife, Leanna, will scold the Adepts for risking their lives, but also thanks them for ensuring his safe return. It's then that the two of them reveal a bit of Ivan's origins, telling of how they were asked to raise him and given the Shaman Rod, told that he would one day need it to unlock something upon traveling to Hesperia. Where is Hesperia? We'll get to that in the sequel. For now, the group's travels take them south, where they begin to hear rumors of another adept named Sheba, who's been taken captive by Satoros and his band, giving them yet another reason to race to stop them from reaching the Venus Lighthouse. Eventually, they do make their way to the lighthouse, climbing it and reaching the top just in time to confront Satoros and Minardi, who have been delayed by Felix as he insists they free Sheba. This buys Isaac and his friends just enough time to confront them in hopes of preventing the lighthouse from being ignited. Although the Adepts have grown in prowess over the course of their journey, it still takes all their strength to finally overcome the pair. But through perseverance, they manage to drive the warriors of the Mars tribe to their knees. Unfortunately, it's not enough. With the last for strength, Minardi tosses the Venusaur in to light the Aerie, the light from the beacon restoring their strength as they fuse into a massive two-headed dragon, because apparently they can do that, and serving as the game's final boss. Of course, it goes without saying that the Adepts manage to overcome the beast. With the outpouring of power from the Venus Lighthouse, a great earthquake begins to rumble. Felix and Sheba fall into the sea below, while the very continent is rent in two. Although Satoros and Minardi have been stopped, it's clear that Felix, despite vehemently disagreeing with their methods, does intend to continue their quest in order to light the remaining two lighthouses, assuming he survives the fall. We then see the group head to La Lavero for the epilogue, where they take a ship prepared for them by Bobby, allowing them to travel the seas. Although they've stopped Satoros and Minardi, they still don't know where the Jupiter star is. Beyond that, they had their promise to Bobby to find Lemuria. They've come far in their journey, but it's far from over. With that, the credits roll, but we're not quite done yet. After the end of it all, you have a short scene with Jenna and Creighton on an island that was set adrift by the quake, with Alex coming to them and informing them that Felix and Sheba have washed ashore. Although this game ends here, Felix's journey is just beginning.
Welcome back, Chrononauts. You're just in time to join us for the conclusion.
All in all, Golden Sun is an impressive JRPG that still holds up to this day. Although the plot is fairly simple, there's a lot of great characterization. All the main cast is quite likable, and there's a lot of intriguing minor characters along the way. Its greatest weakness is that, in the end, it is effectively half a game. It lasts a good 16 to 20 hours, which is by no means short, but it's very clear that the story isn't over when the game ends. To this point in Purpose, you will be able to transfer data over to its sequel, but I'll explain that when I review the Lost Age itself. As aforementioned, it's one of the Game Boy Advance's best looking titles, despite coming out less than a year after the console's launch. It showed off what it was capable of, and Camelot never let technical limitations get in the way of impressive visuals. The way Synergy is unified both in and out of combat makes it a lot more coherent than many other JRPGs, where the mechanics in battle are completely divorced from what the characters are capable of in the story itself. And of course, the Djinn make for some very interesting decisions in combat. Do you go in with them set to use their unique abilities? Do you take them in on standby and just wail on your foes with powerful summons? Or do you just keep them set the entire time to enhance your stats? The game isn't particularly difficult. You never really have to grind to keep up with enemies, although you certainly can if you want things a little easier. On another note, I would like to briefly praise the fact that shops in the game actually do have unique equipment at times that are pretty decent, subverting the usual pitfall RPGs have of equipment from shops being completely useless in the mid to late game. If I have any other major complaints about the title, it's the fact that in the years since I last played Golden Sun, I've become very disillusioned with the silent protagonist trope. Because of it, Isaac's personality is never really developed the way that the other main characters are, and this is something that just feels like lazy writing most of the time. But I guess they can't all be crosscode. In conclusion, I find Golden Sun to be a classic that holds up well to this day, worthy of a respectable 8.6 out of 10.
Golden Sun is going to be pretty hard to find soon. If you don't want to hunt down an original cartridge, then I recommend that you purchase it and The Lost Age on the Wii U Virtual Console before they shut down credit card purchases in the next few days. While not super rare and expensive, the card is by no means cheap either. But what about you? What do you think of Golden Sun? What Game Boy Advance RPG shone brightest for you? If you have any questions, remarks, or opposing points of view, leave them in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell. Until next time, farewell, fellow Fanatics. Thank you again for watching. I have plenty more to share with you if you're interested. You can click up here above my head to subscribe to my channel. You can click over here on my monitor to see the most recent video that I've worked on. Or if you prefer, you can click up here to open this mysterious vault and see what video that the YouTube algorithm has picked just for you.